So this lot is nice because, see, it's that's the path I came from. It's really hidden from everything else. You can't even see it from down below. And this is this triangle lot, and that's it. There's no tea field surrounding it, and it's just kind of hidden by itself, which is really cool. So this is a different viewpoint. I'm now up. I hope we can see how steep it is. And just take a look. The vantage point. You can see the mountains. And then look at all the tea trees down there.
下班走下班了才。
就是现在只采这一半是吧？
我现在就采这一方的，那一方没有采，
还没采。
够不够就没有采了。
So you can see that Gua Pian is so unique in that you take only the leaves, so you can, after it's picked, all the buds are left off. You're picking only just the leaves and leaving the buds. I want to explain the Gua Pian picking just a little better here. So you can see, so normally if you had one bud and two leaves, what you're going to pick is basically you're going to pick like this, right? And however, for Gua Pian, what we're going to do is we're going to just take this leaf and without even having any of the stems. So you're going to cut it off like this with your nail. Sorry, I have only one hand, so I have to use my fingers to help. So this is what you pick. And I just want to say that these are one of the best leaves I've seen. You do want the leaves that has a very plump looking. So see how the center is very plump and it actually rises up and it curls slightly backwards. These kind of varieties or these kind of leaves are usually a good sign. It's actually, sometimes they do two varietals, but sometimes it's not really regards to the varietals, but it's to it's about the nutrition or the how well the tea grows in that particular year, the nutrients it gets, the sunlight, things like that. So this means that this is a very good and healthy leaf. So we're talking about the old way of picking and the new way of picking again. So basically, see all these buds, once they opened up, then you get another round of picking, and that's why the next round of picking sometimes is preferred. Depends on how even they bud. You know, like right now you will have uneven budding. That's one of the frustration you have with the old varieties. But the let's just say that it's all the same kind of budding, and then the second round of budding you actually have the these buds coming out, and as the leaves, and of course these are preferred. Now we were talking about how back in the days you take the whole thing off and you had to literally wait until the bud has been exhausted, and see because the bud is gonna come smaller and smaller. See, this one has already gone through quite a bit of budding, so right now you will pick when this one is still a bud, and you will pick this one, and obviously this one has opened up and you can pick this one and this one, and back in the days you wait until this one even opened up, so you have a tiny bud which you're gonna get rid of, and then you're gonna pick the these as the preferred leaves. But you had to wait, and you only do one round of picking, but you had to take the risk of uneven budding. And now you can always come back and visit the tea field and then just pick out what you want. So the reason we come to this specific lot is because we're looking for some of the older tea trees. So see, this is one of the older bushes, and oh my god, it has a solid trunk. This is so amazing. 哎，这个是砍过头，但是是有那个有根的。
对。
哦。
这就是原，就是如果说它
so they know that this is
就这么大。
Oh, so you know, even from the up top here, it looks like it's just a bush tea tree, but you can tell that it's for at least 100 years old, because see the trunk, it's probably 这边这么高冷，可能都不止100年呢。Yeah, it's probably a few hundred years old. This is amazing. So this is the lower part of the Qishan. So I just want to show you, because this is a really good viewpoint to show you the difference between the new varietal and the old varietal. So you can see these are the these are the new varietals, and they have already started picking this over a week ago, and so these, as you can see, it's already finished the first round of picking, and it's budding really well. It's basically so much of these parts can be picked right now, and these are already considered the very late stage of these varietals. And over here we can see the old varieties, and you can see it's barely budding, and they also take on a completely different shape. It's like these ones are more like the they just keep shooting up, and it gives bud really well, and that's why production wise people usually prefer the new varieties, because they are more robust. They're like pest resistant, frost resistant, everything resistant. It gives buds really gives a lot of yield, and it's buds very evenly, versus the old varieties tend to bud more less evenly. See, that one is budding really well, and the one next to it is not having much. So these create difficulties in terms of budding. But these tend to be older. You can see the even these are bushes, but I hope I can get a little closer, and then you can see that it still has a pretty solid size, and you can tell that these are a little older. So the age definitely contributes to the taste of the tea. I always been thinking that other than just the varieties, that some of the more the older varieties in the region offers, because these are planted by seed. But also how much of its uniqueness or its the preference in this taste is contributing to the age. In other words, given it like 20-30 years, would these ones also become as flavorful as these ones? Is it because not only these are with saplings, the root is shorter to start with, but maybe give it a time, it'll become like this? I don't know. I'm wondering, but we don't have enough evidence yet. So this is a very common complaint for people in the An Hui tea region. Basically, because Chinese tea, I would say in the past 100 years or so, it's definitely very dominated by the Jiangzhe tea. So it's the two provinces, Zhejiang and Suzhou, and Jiangsu teas. So those are the ones that tend to bud a little earlier, and people kind of set the standard that you need to pick the tea before a cutoff date called Qingming, and it's depends on the year. It's usually April 4th to April 6th. The famous teas we know are the Longjing Biluochen. However, these standards do not really apply to a lot of the teas in the An Hui province. And he was saying that people sometimes demand for tea pre-Qingming, which is called the Mingqian teas. But as you can see, these teas are just barely budding, and today it's already 今年17号19号啊今年19号吧不会吧 Okay, I don't know the date. I'm guessing it's the 17th, but he was saying it's the 19th. But anyway, well, the point is, it's really late now, and these are not ready to be picked yet. So I guess the takeaway message is that do not, try to apply the standard of one tea to another, because sometimes it's not really applicable. However, these ones did bud pretty early. But even these ones just started budding like after Qingming. Look! It's a leech. Ew. Oh my god. Remember last year I was also here. I had like a couple leeches on my shoes, but luckily they haven't gotten yet. 你把它拿下去吧，别让它吸了呀。
暂时它不会吸的。你穿的这时候它不会吸血。
He's saying that
不咬人。
At the beginning they wouldn't suck your blood. If you leave it too long they will. But anyway, it's really gross. And I didn't dare to stand in one place for too long, because I was afraid one is gonna catch on me. Right now, actually. So, so this is actually in the An Hui province. You actually see these kind of tools quite often that you don't see really anywhere else. But basically, it's different sifting tools that the hole on the bottom of this tray are of different sizes. Now this one has a quite big size, so it's actually for sifting through the mate tea instead of sifting through the fresh leaves instead of the mate tea. So after a while, once the tea leaves start to falling down, so obviously the ones that goes through the hole fit through a certain size. So these ones are smaller, and these ones are larger. Now, I had to say that this is definitely one of the practice from the kind of earlier company or factory practice in China to try to standardize tea making. So in a way, the size of the tea leaves alone does not really indicate how it's a grocery truck. That's why I said anyway, so he's waving, saying that he's not buying anything. Remember, this is deep in the mountains, so the grocery truck will come by every day to see if people want to buy anything fresh. Anyway, going back to this, so sometimes the smaller the size of the leaves does not become an absolute indicator on how tender the leaves are. I tend to like to get the hand feel of the leaves versus just the size of it. However, the size is a great sifting through the size is a great way to make sure that once you stir fry the tea, that the same batch gets to receive the heat evenly. It still wouldn't be evenly because if the leaf, let's say the same size but of different tenderness, then some of them would be more old, has lower moisture than the other ones, but then those ones will just be picked out as the yellow leaves or the unqualified leaves. However, if you have a batch that's not of the same So if you have a batch that's not of the same size and then you try to stir fry it, what's going to happen is that sometimes you are going to ruin some of the good leaves altogether just because it's not of the same size. Yeah, I just want to show you the tray. You can see that it has holes in them. These are pretty big trays, so the fresh leaves can fall out. Remember, Gua Pian uses only the leaves, so you wouldn't want the hole to be too small. These are usually custom made, depends on the regional tea that the particular village is making. So this batch of tea is handmade. When I say handmade, obviously you saw the yesterday. Actually, yesterday we didn't make tea because it was raining. But the day before yesterday, even when it was machine made, it was still semi-handmade. But this one starts from the very first step, from the fresh leaves, even the kilgreen step, it's completely handmade. Because even though, to be honest, it's actually a little uglier if you do the tea's look, because you're not going to get it as straight as how you has bumped the tea against the machines. However, the way we do this is to make the tea taste better. There's no matter how well the machine can, I guess, mimic how human we handmade tea, but still everybody agrees that handmade tea really, really just tastes so much better. Now, these are the batch of leaves that actually came back from this morning, and it's been wilting for the afternoon. We actually siphoned them, so these are the larger ones and these are the smaller ones. So these are more tender, has more taste to it. Now, of course, if we start with handmade, it's much harder, and you also have much greater risk of burning the tea. You're always going to have a little burn spots, and usually it gets crushed during the whole process and eventually gets siphoned out. So you're going to have more wear as well. So that's one of the reasons why it's so costly as well. Right now, the tea pickers haven't been back yet, so the female head of household, she's still picking tea. So right now it was just me and my brother here, and he has to both manning the fire and making tea, which makes it obviously very hard. I'm gonna help too, don't worry, once I put down the camera. It's very hard because you cannot, basically the broom that you're using, the tool, you cannot have it touch the wok. And one of the things I do is basically I keep rolling the tea underneath the broom, which is not a completely bad thing, but it shows that I'm not as experienced yet. So in the end, they say that once you are able to make sure that the tea gets all spread out, the worst is when you cannot spread the tea. So you can spread the tea, but yet when you roll, the tea does not caught underneath the broom, like so you do not get the tea all clumped up together. Then you can graduate from the school, and then it's a matter of how well you can make it, but at least you're able to do it properly. Anyway, so you can see we have the 3 walks in full capacity right now. Technically, you can finish the whole making in 1 walk. Not only that we have a lot of tea to finish, but also because we want to make sure we stabilize the temperature just so much easier. Because remember, this is wood fire. So if you were to make the tea in 1 walk, because we don't have a dial, so it's really easy to mess up with the temperature. However, this way what we're doing is that we can just stabilize the temperature in each of the walk, so we can just move the tea along the walks to complete the different steps in the Gua Pian making. Now, what I'm doing is actually the most labor-intensive, but actually the easiest step, which is to kill the grain. You want to basically apply the high temperature. So my wok has the highest temperature, and all I need to do is basically make sure I'm constantly moving the tea and turning it to make sure that nothing gets burned. And it's hardest to burn at this stage because the leaf still has a lot of moisture content. However, as I transfer the leaves along, the next step is actually getting a little harder because the leaves is drier, and also she at the same time need to do the tea in a circular motion and then press the tea a little bit to give it a shape. And then the last walk is the easiest on your hand, but it's the hardest because you got to make sure that you give the tea a pretty refined shape. Now, they were joking that they're giving me the least skillful job, but it's actually the hardest, like in terms of on my body. So a few days ago when I was making the tea first started, my whole arm and my shoulder was like aching for 2 days, even after just 5 walks. However, today I think this probably is my 20th walk, and I'm still doing okay because I tried to adjust my gesture, and they were telling me also that if you anything hurts, it should be your wrist. It should never be your shoulder. So I tried to watch that and move all my movement to my wrist. Yeah. So this is. So I can also feel that I'm having more control with the tea. It's much harder than like basically using your hand, because you're adopting a tool which doesn't listen to you as well as your own hand. And by the way, I just want to mention that Maine, the local fire is also one of the most important jobs. Usually when people are doing this, you have a dedicated person who's just doing that. So you can see right now there are only 2 walks being used. So you have that one being almost idle, but not really. And then you have this one because this one just added fire to it. I actually that one also okay. So this one is the most has the most heat. Actually, the one in the tumbling machine has the most heat, but this one's secondary and this one's the third. The reason that people are separating these walks into different ones is because you don't have a dial, so you cannot control the temperature. So it's the best to basically have stationary but controlled temperature. So usually the reason that you have 3 is that you have 3 different temperature levels, but because we're not killing the grain in a hand-making wok, so right now you're only opening up 2 of them. Watch this. This chicken will follow me around. This is so hilarious. Come on. Hey, Shitty. I mean, I've never seen I've been to so many parts of rural China. I've never seen a chicken that's this afraid of people. In fact, she just follow me around because all the other chicken from the same mother, and I'm sure there's an English word for it, but all his brothers and sisters died, and this is the only survivor. So he just follows people around. And go来, see, this is so amazing. 摸摸你好不好？ 我摸摸你，你不要叨我。I can't even pet him. He's so big. This chicken decided to perch on me. Oh shit. I hope he doesn't. Don't poop on me. Don't